used to have a watch called that. Let me know if you can. Hey, Lois. Let me know if y'all can see the screen. Hear my voice. Alright, James Kaufman, World News Report today. Today is May 13th, 2025. God bless you and yours, no matter where they are in the world. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell for critical future updates. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's been less news besides that X flare that we'll cover tonight in the news than I've seen in months. So I figured we better pick up on our volcanoes, earthquakes, and then the different weather setups that are on their way. So again, today we're going to go over volcanoes erupting all around the globe. I believe there is a small uptick. We're going to go over earthquakes in various places, and we're going to go over a bunch of different weather phenomena, like that heat wave of 110 degrees that's about to hit Texas this week. All right, shall we get started here? We regularly start out looking at all the volcanoes that are in major eruptions and minor eruptions. And major eruptions are those colored in red, whereas minor eruptions, and these change back and forth, but minor eruptions are in orange. Now, there's not going to be a prize giveaway tonight, but I wish all you guys would guess how many volcanoes around the globe do we see erupting. And this is not per me, it's per volcanodiscovery.denmark, all right, which I find to be the very best source. So, with that said, thank you, Lois. Well, with that said, guys, if y'all want to throw a guess out there, I'll give y'all a hint. This year alone, we've been between 39 and, is it 89 or 85? It might have been 89. And we're in the 80s, 70s to 80s at some point right now. So we're on definitely an uptick from last time this year. So I'm going to get to counting. Y'all get to guessing over in the chat. And we'll make sure that we give a big shout out to whoever does win. All right, I'll just keep going. 3. All right, we got 30 to there. 1, 2. 40. It's going to make it easier. This mess here is going to determine it. That will be 50. 60. 70. 70, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It looks like 81. 81, guys. 81. So I guess Miss Kathy in the house takes the prize. Wish there was a prize tonight, guys, but there's not. Although there are a lot of volcanoes erupting. How's everybody doing? Good to see Miss Crazy Kathy. Pauline, always a pleasure. Lois, always a pleasure. Thank you for the cup of coffee last night. It posts real loud on my Twitter account. We can probably go over there and see. And I appreciate that one cup of coffee. It's been far and few between. I know that everyone's tapped out, obviously, but if y'all can help with a cup of coffee, please do, guys. It's tough to keep everything going. Hey, Corey. Tough to keep everything going without that extra couple of dollars every month. All right, and we'll continue here, guys. I want to show y'all live footage, if we can get it live, of Kilauea. Kilauea is currently erupting here, live. I don't know why they disabled the chat. It'd be fun to chat about it. I don't know why they're not showing it. I was just watching it. You might not be able to see it. Let me upgrade this. Did it burn the camera out? No worries, because that's V2 cam. I have V1 cam right here. But the V2 cam is much better. What is going on? Maybe the flames hit it. They were getting close. Here, I'll show y'all a little bit about what the V2 cam. And it might be. See, it was getting hard to see there. Getting harder to see with all the smoke. It might just be that the entire screen, there it is there, is covered in smoke. I don't know. But this is the same here, Kilauea, and we're getting a view, well, upstream of the smoke. So Kilauea is going off. We've got a bunch of new volcanoes going off over in Italy and Greece and around the all the way around. Let's see where we're at now. All right, guys. Today is going to be Tuesday. So we're actually going to get reports out of the Canadian government. They don't share their earthquakes information with anybody but themselves. But we see that we had 3 quakes here, and this is all a volcanic situation through here. So 3 very small quakes that are hardly worth mentioning, in my opinion, although the depth is very shallow up in those mountainous combs. That's sea level. So when you see a negative or just 1.1, that's 1 kilometer, it's going to be, well, it's going to be 700 feet below sea level. Now this is up on a mountain, so that's going to be within the mountain itself. You can see all these smaller quakes also here. Lots of smaller quakes here. 7.8, 1.7. What does this tell us? We also have this quake here, the Puget Sound. What does this tell us? This tells us that is all part of the Cascadia subduction zone, and there's a hard line here, where one country meets the other, and they don't report anything south of their country, and they don't release any information north of their country, which I find wild because the EMS does, European Seismic Center does, every other country on Earth, from Japan to Indonesia to, doesn't matter, you can name it, China, Russia, they release all their seismic data, but Canada refuses to. Very weird. All right, we had that big quake south of Mexico City here, a 5.9. Then remember, we had the bigger quake down here. I told you that energy was going to work its way up here. We have plates that don't connect through here. Lots of active volcanoes in the, can I call it the Sea of Cortez, or is it now the California Bay, California Gulf? Did you know that Mexico sued us in the international court today over the Sea of America's name? Shouldn't they be able to call it what they want to call it, and we can call it what we want to call it? They sued us in international court. I thought it was so funny. That lady doesn't have better things to do than worry about that. All he was doing was pulling your foot, lady. We got a 5.1 out here on the Pacific Central Rim here on this big fault. Halfway between, out by the Galapagos Islands, which are right here, but halfway between, well, New Zealand and Zealandia and South America. We had a 6.0 just come in here, and look where it's at. Look where it's at. I mean, who told y'all? And I'm looking for a 10.0. But who would have thunk it? A 6.0 here, called out by Athens as 6.0. The UOA and United. And I'm not going to know what that is, believe it or not. It'll be the 10 years of reporting here. I don't know what the UOA is, but we will when we get there. No worries, okay? I want to go ahead and, we're not there yet. You can see that we do have everything in yellow, or volcanoes awakening. And we got a bunch of them. We have 3 right here just awakening, and we head down to Indonesia, well, all the way down, and to Heard Island, which has gone off this year. A lot of these have gone off this year. And then around Indonesia, lots of them are active right now, but we still have several going into Japan, of course, that look like they're ready to rumble. We've got one here. Is that Spur? Mount Spur, Mount Hayes, the infamous, not famous, infamous. So we don't see as much in yellow as we usually do. Golly, now we have 3 volcanoes erupting up here in Iceland and 1 more awakening. And you know, you would go like, oh, that's a big deal, until you found out that there were 20 active volcanoes. 20 active volcanoes. Or is it 200? Right there in that area. That have all gone off. All gone off. Within the last 10,000 years, which is a speck of time. A speck of time. So what does everything mean? Everything in gray has erupted in 15,000 years or less. Everything in green has erupted in 10,000 years or less. These are specks of time compared to the 4.4 billion years they tell us Earth's been here. I mean, we're talking about specks of time. And then we know yellow is awakening. And we know that orange is minor eruption and red is major eruption. Look how many volcanoes are ready to go around Indonesia when it's time to party. Alright, we did cover that one. We're going to just turn them all on and skip up. Man, I couldn't have called this any better. This place just about all the way formed except for that little black thing. It took only 1 year to form the plate between Turkey and Syria here. Unbelievable. All that energy pushed exactly where I told y'all it would. Look at the Aegean Sea. And then to have a 6.0 there. And we will pull up some detailed information here. But we're still there. We'll get to that in a second. That's the biggest quake on Earth currently. Look at the swarms here. This is Italy over here where you'd think you'd be looking at them. Sicily, Italy, Campi. This is Greece all of a sudden. Awakening. Can you say more than awakening? Imagine going from no earthquakes to this many earthquakes. I'm not going to be able to tell you how many that is. And most of them are 2.0 or smaller. But what I will be able to tell you guys is that's a lot of earthquakes, and every volcano or every island in the Aegean Sea, which is this little area here, is a volcano. Every one of them. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. How's everybody doing? Back rows, boy. What's up? Darlene, great to see you. Spanky cool. Mark, always a pleasure, sir. You know, there was so little news. We do have some news at the end. We're going to do the space weather news. We're going to do Schumann. We're going to go over just one slide and see if there's anything breaking. But the biggest news of the day is that the U.S. has turned its back on every ally in the world and created an sole alliance with Saudi Arabia out of the blue, even turned its back on Israel. Trump's actually not going to even visit Israel. He scratched it off his trip tour on his 5-day trip to the Middle East. Unbelievable. And you know, he's got to worry because I'm sure he found out the Mossad was part of the apparatus that wanted him off in Butler. I'm sure he found that out. I could have told him all he had to do was call. All you got to do is call. All right, you always heard about the Alps, right? The Alps. Let's go to the Alps. Do y'all want to go to the French Alps right here? The Swiss Alps right here? The Italian Alps right here? I wonder what here's my hybrid. There we go. The Austrian Alps right here. The French Alps. I say that every Winter Olympics is held either right here. This is all the Alps. It's all there is. Nothing else is even snow-capped. Unless we move all the way to Norway and Sweden. Alright? That's the only... obviously that's Western Europe. Obviously, the Himalayas are huge mountains. Alright, so we've seen a little bit of action everywhere. Nothing big. A 3.0 in France. A 3.6 in France. Fairly big. We'll see what kind of depth. 3.1 mile depth. And that's really weird. 3.6 mile depth. We have to start asking what's going on here, because this does not look Kopasai. We have a smaller quake at 2.1 here around the Straits of Gibraltar. The problem is as y'all can see, the black, there's more black. Let's see where it is. The plates don't connect. We'll just make it simple. So we're seeing small trembles there. We'll back up. Of course, this is the Azores Islands, part of Portugal, and we do have Terceira, which has already exploded once. We even have a little bit of volcanic, or not volcanic, but earthquake action down in La Palma. La Palma. Remember that mess? And then we've got another volcano awakening in Cape Verde. Let's get through this so we can get into the good stuff. So anyway, they're having some kind of war. Here in Burma. And even though the quakes won't stop, one of the countries, and I'm not even quite sure what, because it's called NL, Little Burma or something, are bombing all of the quake victims with their houses all down. It's nasty right now what's happening in Burma. I don't know where that came from. Out of the blue here, you can see that nothing really happens on Pakistan. If we would see a big blast, it would show up right here on the earthquake map, and I can show you all how to tell the difference between a bomb of any kind and an earthquake. Although so few people on YouTube seem to know All you got to do is read the page and then look at the signature. It's simple, simple, simple. But we'll wait until we see a bomb because we don't see one yet. Look at this area right here. Why am I so concerned about that area? Everyone knows that's going to be where the great 10.0 earthquake rips the night up like surcloth, creates a tidal wave, and that's why the 7 armies are surrounding Jerusalem. Now I'm starting to back up and say Saudi Arabia's here, Iraq's here, Syria's here, and the U.S. just signed an arms and some kind of NATO type agreement with Saudi Arabia. It was a big deal, folks. A big, big deal. They're rearranging the whole world. I believe that Russia is going to join now, Saudi Arabia and the U.S., and they might get China to join. Imagine. What they're trying to do is they're trying to clean up the child pedophilia. That's all they're trying to do. But they're going to do it because Trump signed with Saudi Arabia today. I think that Russia's going to follow suit and sign on with their pact. And I'm pretty sure that China's going to do the same here, folks. Okay? And it's going to be, it's like we switched. We switched teams. Although we probably should have always been on the other team, right? Whoever wants to force vaccinations on you, Russia has a nuclear bomb shelter for every one of its citizens. And I have bad things to say about Saudi Arabia and of course China, but I don't have much bad to say about Russia. I really don't. Fabulous, clean, pretty country. And Russia is huge. All these dotted lines, these are just provinces in Russia. Russia is, I guess, is it the biggest country in the world? The Soviet Union was much bigger. It had Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Mongolia, but it's still probably the biggest country in the world. Looking around Japan, always swarms of earthquake activity right there. What are they doing? They're trying to build as many nuclear power plants as they can. And guess what happened today? The same place that this major Pacific ends right here, Pacific plate boundary, and this is our Euro-Asia and Indonesia plate boundary here. They don't meet. Well, Taiwan just signed their first agreement to build a nuclear power plant. They need more juice. If y'all ever got to look at this thing, all the manufacturing in all of China moved to that little bitty island right there. It is one of the, let's just say there's a lot going on right there. A lot. And them knowing that the plate boundary, these are major tectonic plate boundaries, ends here and does not start until here. And you're seeing earthquake activity right on the ends of the plates. Them to start building a nuclear power plant right now is the most irresponsible thing I could ever imagine in my lifetime. In my lifetime. All right, we can see that swarm happening in the Philippines, and that's been pretty ongoing around with Indonesia. And we've had just a lot of volcanoes going off through there. This is still, it turns out there's some kind of regional war there, and there's earthquakes ongoing. Bad news. Then we look up at Zealandia. This is the continent here. And it is supposedly rising out of the sea. Now, the boundaries are hard to pick out. Everyone has them differently. These are mine. New Zealand's trying to take a land grab at the light blue part, saying it's their continental shelf. Problem is they're not a continent. There's New Caledonia right there, the island. It's going to be Fiji, Tonga, the islands, Papua New Guinea over here. They said there should be a little, look at that, a little straight. After it's all finished and said, right between, which kills the surfing. Part of the reason the surfing was so great over here is because the surf was lifted up by this very shallow reef here, better known as a continent. And that really made the surf spectacular over on the east coast of Australia. Getting up to the Russian peninsula. Look at this. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 in full eruption, 2 in minor eruption, and we have a bunch of magma movement under that. Remember, this is the North American plate. They might have some black lines here. They don't mean shit. Yes, there will probably be more plates, smaller plates in the future, but this is all North American. This is all Pacific plate right here. It's all Euro-Asia plate right here. And this is all I'm having Indonesian plate. Excuse me. I'm having a problem with that word today. It's weird. Indonesian plate, James. Indonesian plate. All right. Illinois with a really weird 3.2. I don't think there's any fracking. This is fracking. We're going to take a look at this. This is going to be a really interesting situation here. Take a look at this when we get there. I'd like to speak to Mexico City. These are all volcanoes, and if I turn everything off, you can see they're all volcanoes here. And I'd like to turn everything back on. The PM 2.5 is going right up through the central plains here from these 7 or 8 volcanoes and tornadoes. Volcanoes, they're erupting right here. So we'll be able to see, I will show you a map soon, of that PM 2.5 spilling into those central plains, ruining really our dust bowl, our obviously our wow. So I want to say fruit bowl, but it's not. It's a, what is it? It's where we grow all of our food. What do they call it? Damn it. Anybody? This is our, unbelievable. Look how much activity is happening under these volcanoes. It's unheard of. Then we move into Venezuela. Bread basket. Thank you, crazy. You know what? 99.9% of the time, you're the one that comes up with it. You must think just like me. You're like, no! That is the exact word I was looking for, breadbasket. And we have volcanoes from Venezuela to Colombia into Peru here. And this is the Peruvian-Chilean wedge here. Over 20,000 volcanoes in this area, and so few are awakened. We're also seeing the tip down here. We have some seamounds in the area, but that tip has been rocking and rolling now for about 2 or 3 weeks. Looks really crummy. And then the northern part up here of Iceland, solid swarm there. It's going to be a 5th volcano that's awakening up there. I think that's going to cover us on this map. Don't forget about White Island volcano and Erebus. And then don't forget about White Island volcano. I don't know why there's 2, but there's 2. All right. So this is the biggest quake on the planet right now. Just quickly, it's not going to be big. Not even 1 atomic bomb worth of energy. 0.9 atomic bombs worth of energy. USGS main source. Going to be right there down off the Baja Mexican coast. No, this one's coming in somewhere totally different. You're right. This one's the one in Greece that we just got through talking about. And here is Israel right in here. So this promises to be exactly as written. I mean, everything is going down exactly as written. Of course, it's going to have to turn into a 10.0, but heck, it's already turned in from no earthquakes to swarms of earthquakes every day to a 6.0. Not far to go, right? Not far to go. I was thinking it was at 5.9 right there, but it was not. Mount Spur and Mount Hayes, there's another active volcanoes out here. Really on ground here in the U.S., if we consider Alaska the U.S., which I do. Mount Spur and Mount Hayes are awakening, and we got quite a swarm over those. We will move in and take a look at what the hell's happening. Oh. You know, there was a big hush-hush on that around town today. We didn't hear anything about it on the news, although it made the nationwide news. That's our most high-end neighborhood. It's small, mostly foreigners, but when the African Americans get angry, they march through it and ruin everyone's grass, cars, anything that's not guarded or locked up. Alright, why would they do something like that? Because that's their modus operandus, James. Oh. Alright, that's Mount Rainier. Just south of there is Burn, Washington, depth of 24 feet. This is Mount Glacier. This is really the Puget Sound. This is Mount Olympic. So that's really an offset. Nothing I see out of the ordinary here. St. Helens, Adams, Hood, right on top of Hood. And look, the depth does worry me, but I know that that's probably a 3,000 above sea level mountain, maybe 2,700 or 2.7 kilometers. So this is not all the way to the top, but it tells you there's activity happening in the caldera at Mount Hood, Oregon, or Washington there, excuse me. So that's something to keep an eye on, because when these go, they're all going to go. I'm surprised when St. Helens went in 81, 83 that Rainier and Adams didn't go. And Hood, for that matter. Alright, working our way down. This is Geysers geothermal plant. It's the biggest geothermal plant. We're going to count that one. If that's only at 2, 3, these are small quakes. This is Clear Lake Volcanic Range. This is Clear Lake. This is the city of Clear Lake here. This is Cobb Mountain, one of the 6 volcanoes in this range that circles the lake. It's owned by Calpine. Been sold over 50 times. Built in 1926. Now there's 19 different drill holes into the volcano, each producing incredible amounts of electricity through the steam that pumps out. Turning turbines with steam that pumps out of the volcano. How many hit today? Imagine working there. Just imagine. You had a 12-hour day, and you're going to get hit by, well, about half of whatever I'm going to show you. And you got to be ready for one every couple of minutes. You're like, da-da-da-da-da. Imagine trying to get your hatchet wrench on something, and of course, your finger gets caught every time because the damn thing's shaking 2 feet. I'm going to go ahead and guess with you guys. Everyone take a guess. Everyone take a guess. I'll show y'all Cobb Mountain geothermal. It's almost impossible to even pull a picture of it now. It's called Geysers. It's owned by California again right now. It was 19 units. Was 19 units until this year, I guess. 2 rows, 1 of 10, 1 of 9. So they must have drilled a 20th hole. The steam pushes huge turbines that create so much energy. They actually create energy for all of San Fran, all the Great Valley, a lot of Sacramento, all of Oakland, a lot of the Palo Alto Valley. This thing's no joke, man. It's like damming 20 now, I would say 19 Colorado rivers. It is the chute. It is the chute. Alright, I'm going to guess. What are y'all looking at? Y'all were right about where I was going to be. I was going to be right there where Mike Johnson is, in the 35 range. But I can tell there's stack right here. I'm going to stick with my original thoughts. And we're going to check it out. Tiff, you have to guess. Oh, you did. Alright, let's see. Whoa! You know, if I go with whatever God gives me, it seems to be close. If I go with whatever I decide myself, it seems to suck. And that goes for almost every aspect of life. Alright. YUP28. What's that mean, Tiff? I'm going to go over all the flooding, I promise. Alright, they're allowing blasting right here, guys. Right on the San Andreas Fault. And y'all are probably some of the only ones that know why they allow blasting always to the northwest. It's where the pressure comes from, right? And all this is where the plates are trying to work out, and they're trying to move that North American plate, flood the San Joaquin Valley, make the Sierra Nevada the new plate. It's really called the, it's really called the, Walker Lane fault line. I've got to go to the lake to remind me. This is Lake Tahoe, obviously a volcano, no matter what they tell you. There's methane bubbles coming out of the water, so I don't know. That little thing right there, that's Long Valley Caldera. It's got CO2, PM 2.5, 4 or 5 deadly gases all over this area. These are all boiling hot springs. And this happens to be the 3 or 4 resort areas where they ski. Now, me and my friends used to always go down the back side. Hopefully they have enough signage there. Don't go, and we would walk sometimes 6 miles. This is a lot more than 6 miles. It's like 600 miles around the front of the mountain, right? If we went down the backside, it'd be fresh powder, very dangerous. You get caught back there. But this is, Mammoth Mountain. And these are all the ski ranges, and there's about 20 of them here on Mammoth Mountain. And they back up to the Long Valley Caldera right here, which is a huge volcanic caldera. All right. And if everyone doesn't know it, I'll show you all a picture real quick. Yellowstone's right here. I can see all of the dunes that are in Nevada and in Utah. These you'll call them sand dunes. When you look at it under a microscope, they tell me it's volcanic rock. I said, well, it's white. They said it's volcanic rock. So every sand dune you see has been created by the last eruption of Yellowstone, and you can see the flow. What stopped it here? Well, the biggest shield volcano in the world, Wawa Springs. Could this be above the highest mountain in the area? I'm guessing it is going to be, but we're going to hold off for a second. I have not looked. All right. This is called Snake River. Snake River. There's Evel Knievel, his valley where he jumped. And this is Yellowstone. It's a lot of action in Snake River, more than I think I've ever seen in my life. And that's all pushing its way into Yellowstone right now. I'm afraid when they go to blowing, they're all going to be blowing. Not just another 20 or something. Well, it's not as high in the caldera as I thought. Some of these are 11, 12,000 feet in the air above the tops of any mountains in those areas. This is going to be near Price, Utah here, and Salt Lake City, Utah here. And this is Wawa Springs, the biggest shield volcano in the world. Fracking. We're going to zoom in and find out what the hell's happening here. Because there sure ain't no fracking going on here. I don't even see any surface pit mining. I see nothing but beautiful, beautiful country. This one's got me. This one's had me all day. I was expecting to find something easy here. Anything easy. Surface pit. Anything that makes sense. There's nothing there, guys. So that's going to be a mind bender. That's going to be a 3.3 that came in as a 5.0 right there in Illinois. It's a mind bender for me. And we talked about this. This is that energy working its way up. It's going to jump the little plate separation here. And Los Angeles, at least the west coast of the U.S., is going to feel this tomorrow and the next day. We're going to see some significant earthquakes. And I mean in California, Oregon, Washington, and into Vancouver, British Columbia, into British Columbia. So y'all get ready. That's going to for sure happen because we've seen the tension go towards that northwest. All right, they are working, so their fire maps are up. All of a sudden, they have tons of fires again. Everything in red is on fire. This is going to be the Canadian Wildlife Service .Canada, directly from the government. I hope someone does volunteer to read for us. I think we all need a good reading tonight. If God will tell y'all if y'all need to. I always take it as some of my time to learn. After I'm finished with this at night, I learn for an hour or two, and really am more interested in learning about the Bible than almost anything. But for me alone, it's hard for me to learn about the Bible unless it's a group situation, and it's hard for me to read it by myself. All right, these are fires in Ontario, Manitoba, Alberta, Saskatchewan. So that means that everything's drying up. All this shit's going to catch fire in Washington, Oregon, California, Montana. I'll get ready to rumble. And there we go. A good-sized fire. Luckily, it's almost contained in Montana. Got a little something starting up over here, contained. The first ones are always easy. It's still wet outside. Still wet from the rains. Look down here in Texas. It's really, really getting screwed up here. 3,200 acres. There's nothing to burn out here, just bush, no, sand. 32 acres, not, God, 3,600 acres, 0% contained. This could really get ugly. I don't know what's burning out here. 100% contained, 400 acres. All there is tumbleweeds. I mean, that's all there is right there. There's no stores, no buildings, no nothing, no trees, no grass. I mean, are these wells on fire or what? We've got a fire. That's a red flag warning down there. We've got a damn fire warning up here, but we do have a fire right here north of the border. So, I mean, we just saw that, right? Basically, this is a fire. It just doesn't decide to stop at the border, right? Y'all can see the fire here. All right, heading over in. There's a big fire here. 11,000 acres, 0% contained camp house incident. And is that going to be in? I'm going to have to zoom in on that one. And 11,700. So we have 20,000 acres right there in Minnesota. And then look at all the new fires. I would have never guessed this. I zoomed in far enough. These all started today. Wow. I told y'all the Central Plains all the way up through Michigan is going to be where the real problems are. Look, they disappear. I mean, looking at that, I want to scan the country real quick, right? Please let me. You can see around Wawa Springs here, these are all brand new fires started. These are two old ones, they're too small to show up. Look at Los Angeles, all brand new, the Valley brand new. Golly, all these are still burning from yesterday and all brand new in yellow and red. Wow, my Sequoia National Forest, you better not mess with it, boys. All brand new, mostly people throwing out their cigarettes. I want to go up here real quick. Excuse me, guys. But since there were that many when we zoomed in, we need to just make sure that the whole West Coast is not on fire. I think we're okay there. Got another one there. Craters of the Moon. Another fire. Mostly contained. This is, anybody? Yellowstone National Park. That's the caldera itself. I guess we'll have to be satisfied. Let's just for fun, before we go to the next slide. Wow, Florida. 5,000 acres contained. 3,500 acres contained. 2,200 acres contained. 560 acres contained. And I want to go, we're heading to the new slide, but I just want to see if there's fires all over Boston. Well, everyone knows. Alright, this is NASA firms, just the US. All these are 1,000 acres or larger in Canada. Some big fires. A couple of 1,000-acre fires here and one in Montana. Everything else is very small, except for Florida. We got 4,000-acre plus fires in Florida, a couple in North Carolina, Kentucky here, Virginia here, Tennessee here. The red marks, that's our new Landsat. You can see them really highly sensitive, but gosh, it doesn't do much. You'd think technology would, well, get better as we get, well, further along, but it's gotten worse, it seems like, right? We can't even make it out of low Earth orbit anymore. Or did we ever? Or did we ever? You can see the Landsat. This is our GOES system. It's having a satellite look down for heat signatures. They used the infrared one of this to watch that satellite go into the Indian Ocean just the other day. Right. Most of the time we can say that there's no fires on the equator. All the fires, we're sending $10 billion a month down there to fight the fires. Well, we don't need to be spending or sending any more because there are no fires in the rainforest anymore. We need to worry about Mexico. This is where all Mexico, Central America, Honduras, El Salvador, all those volcanoes and all these fires everywhere, too close to home, and all that is turning into PM 2.5 and heading right into ruin our lives, or shorten our lives, we'll put it like that. Where else do we see bad situations? Around the most populated areas of China, around all of India here, being chopped in by the Himalayan mountains. And we're starting to see a lot of fires for the first time on several coasts. And this is the more prevalent coast with some, I guess there's volcanoes are hiding everywhere in Australia, but I know three or four of them over here. I will say that we're not used to seeing fires in some of these parts of Australia. All right, air quality. That's going to be right on one of my fires. You know what fire that's going to be? My sequoia tree fire. Right there. The only place I care. The redwoods and the sequoias. Leave them alone. And then this is all caused by that fire. Just coming up through all this area here. All this, all the yellow here, all these deadly readings. You see how this says, and they turned it off the hour beforehand. You see how this says 162 parts per million? Well, just 10 parts per million increases your lung cancer percentage by 36%. Just 10. And of course, who keeps changing their page because I keep reading it, trying to stay out of trouble with YouTube. It's their numbers, not mine. Look how all the big fires in Florida, all the federal monitoring stations have been turned off. We got another big fire over here, right there, turned off. Big fire, turned off. I think it's absolutely laughable. We can see that the Central Plains, hit and miss. Depends on if you get a little pocket or valley that you live in where the PM 2.5 can accumulate, or some other situation physically. Or how about geologically? That might be the better choice of words. And here are those three fires up here that we talked about. Of course, the air quality is, hey, could be worse, but remember, just 10 parts per million increases our lung cancer percentage by up to 36%, according to WHO and the International Research Association on Cancer. See if there's anything else we need to see here. Over in Old Cali Road. All right, this is our PM 2.5. We're going to put it in motion. This is the volcanoes here. Pomposelli's right here, and then they're all lined up right here. And y'all can't see it, but see the lines pushing that PM 2.5? And then we have that fire right here. We have that other fire in Saskatchewan that we talked about right on the other side of the border here. And so it's like the Gulf Coast where I'm at is getting killed by PM 2.5, just killed. And this is mostly all coming off the volcanic activity in Central America, meaning Honduras, Nicaragua, Guatemala, El Salvador, etc. Although the Great Lakes are getting hit real hard too. And that's most probably, you see the stream going right up from these exact same deals. And they're getting caught up in the Great Lakes. All right, let's run through, we've got it all tonight. Let's run through what's going to happen over the next few days. We had 4 tornadoes today. We're about to go over those. It looks like Wednesday, get ready again, which is tomorrow. Wednesday, about midday, look for tornadoes. Then up to the north, and I'm going to prove this, look for tornadoes on the 15th, up to the north, South Dakota, North Dakota. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. Look at that. So look for tornadoes there. And this is one source versus another, and they're all going to say the same thing. And this one just takes it further. You can see we have more doses to come. It's so far been a very light tornado season, in my opinion. Gosh, I'll knock on some wood right there, because that's not something I want to say. And I will say these are still spinning. This one's spinning the right way. First one we've seen all year spinning clockwise. The small one up here, stronger one, spinning counterclockwise, which would be a subtropical low. Alright. What do we got? This is what we got today, guys. 2 touchdown in North Carolina. Kind of out of the blue. Pretty much from yesterday's storm. And then I guess we've had 4 more. And there's a good chance that these are some of the same tornadoes. There was some damage done down here in North Carolina. No damage or lives lost in Illinois or Indiana. So all in all, it was a good tornado day. So I didn't go into it or pick it up today. Very little news available. This was today. Bad air quality. Bad air quality from we know where. That fire right here, right? And this blowing it in. Heavy. Did y'all see heavy thunderstorms over in Maryland, D.C., West Virginia, Virginia? Did y'all see those storms today? They have mixed precipitation, which is going to turn into your tornadoes tomorrow. Bad air quality, which will be moved out tomorrow. Well, maybe. And look at that, right where they said North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Nebraska. They've got severe thunderstorm warnings and tornadic warnings for tomorrow. Well, I mean, talking about right where they terminate, and that's going to blow into Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and maybe Kentucky. And maybe into Pennsylvania and West Virginia as well. That's going to be Thursday. With another next boy up already coming. So I don't expect many days of no tornadoes from henceforth. Really, May and June are going to be our 2 hottest months. And I'm already starting to look for tropical depressions or tropical systems. All right. I know everyone thinks that we're sending, but we're not ascending. Our poles are flipping, and we're losing our damn atmosphere. And someone said today what I've been thinking for years, these CERNs, are they creating a fake atmosphere to try to get us through the next pole flip? Because as you know in the book Adam and Eve, written by all the all the Northrop Grumman scientists, it said that the pole, they call it a flip, but I've read so much about it. It only flips 40, 60, 70, 80%, not 180, not from like the sun does from the north to the south. I'd call it more of a pole shift or movement, but when it does move quickly, our atmosphere dissipates completely, and we're seeing winds from 200 to 400 miles an hour, straight and steady on the ground, with a lot of other effects like the sun frying everything like bacon. So here we can see that we've had, and this is not the Schumann resonance, this is our geomagnetic field here. And we can see it started getting hit right before 0, and we can look back, and these are off the chart hits, off the chart hits, off the chart hits. Here it was warming up, and I wanted to make sure it was real, so I did, in fact, can you believe this is working again? I did, in fact, make sure it was real down here with the amplitudes, which I'll check out. But the problem is it's going to be exactly what I told you it always is. God, they haven't moved down. I wasn't able to, I had it all on top of this and had the slide. We had a thunderstorm move over the modeling center, as you can see. See the thunder and lightning? So we had a thunderstorm move over the modeling center. When you see a Schumann resonance spike, all you're really seeing these days is a thunderstorm, lightning being the agitator, and our atmosphere disappearing, so it's returning to the geophones and the ELF, ULF sensors with much more velocity and much quicker, thus spiking from its highest ever, 37 hertz, to well over 200 hertz this year. All right, no tropical problems for the next 7 days. Next 7 days. Whoa, we just had a hell of another flare. I wonder if that's going to light us up, maybe. Where could that have come from? Even if it was from 3086, it's so far around the limb, that was like an X20 flare. That makes me think there's a planet, black hole, or another item coming. Why do they, ask yourself, why do they always go off when they hit that edge, James? Why do the sunspots always go off when they hit that outbound edge? Well, that's because there's something over in that direction causing a geomagnetic connection and explosion, right? Y'all know that. So we got a big one today, 1.2 out of a sunspot that was mostly eclipsed. I believe it was a much stronger flare. I think it will be Earth affected because we got an electron storm, a proton storm, we got it all. And that's where our geomagnetic connection is to that outgoing limb that actually electrically pulls Earth in sun's rotation and away from the Big Bang at 355,000 miles an hour. So you got two things will happen. Something that's Earth facing for 4 or 5 days takes about 12 days for any sunspot to transit the Earth facing solar disk. So you got about 4 or 5 really bad days with a sunspot directly Earth facing, and then you have another period of time when it hits that far limb when you can also get into trouble. Now we're going to check on this. This is pretty bothersome. Pretty bothersome. And these are, look, this is my X flare. These are old. This is old. I will pull up the latest and greatest now that we've had that big flare here. But you can see that was nothing to mess with, and it was mostly eclipsed out of 4086. If it was out of 4086 again, I'll bet it's out of 487 over here. But if it was out of 486 again, and it was that large, it was like an X20 because that shit is behind the planet now. Let me see if I can straighten this up a little bit, guys. Alright, pretty good job, pretty good job. Shields are up in blue. Space weather really never goes over 10. It went to 10.04. Solar winds from 400, topping out at 465. Not even making a run for any type of solar event whatsoever. No solar disturbances, no solar storms. However, this is the first X flare here. First X flare right here, and I will say it has a halo component to it, but it's more of a backside halo component, unless there was a sympathetic solar flare, another solar sunspot group that popped off at the same time. But that is the X1.2 from earlier today. Now we're going to have to keep this a little bit longer than we wanted to, because now we've got problems. Talked about this big coronal hole coming into play. We should, I bet it's going to be this new one. Look, there it is right there. I don't even know if they've named it. The only way I can tell, I bet they have not even named. Look at these dark filaments up here about to pop. This goes at 195 angstroms. Watch out for the black hole. And I mentioned these ugly sunspots earlier today. What we will do, y'all want to laugh at how wrong they are, or just assume that they're wrong because they've never been right? We'll just laugh this time. What we will do instead, I should say, is we're currently in a polar cap absorption event, but this is from the X flare. I'm going to update this because I said in that video, unless we have another solar flare that would amplify the situation. What happened? Well, I'm afraid that's what happened. Although I don't see a polar cap absorption event. You can see we've had one all day since 1530. It's been on and off. Really only ionized the North Pole and some parts of the South Pole, not the whole thing. See if we see that big, there's that big flare right there. And so no ionizing radiation here. But let me just say, I'd like to real quickly, well, this is what I was worried about. We didn't break the space weather threshold, S1, solar storm 1, 10 million volts of electricity. But we just had another flare, and we're going to find out where it came from right this second. No worries. We have all the equipment to do so. God, it'd be so hard for me to get my hands to do exactly this every time. I wonder what it means. That stammer, does it mean I'm hooked on the cokey? Kill them off. More coke for us. Is that what it means? That's what I think. All right. I know. I don't think Bill is, but the other two, that ship sailed. All right. Believe it or not, I think, especially they're live, might have assigned it. A sunspot group. Might. Nope. They sure did not, and they downgraded that. Well, it says 1.1 there, but 1.2 up here. So no one has given that sunspot group designation. I don't think the sunspot's named yet. But we'll be able to tell. Hold on. I guess it is 4087. There's a sunspot right there. There's 4086. And so that's what we're dealing with. So we're going to have to see what happens with all that crap. Now, is there anything someone wanted to see the River Oak stuff in Houston? Y'all let me know in the comments if there's anything. May 4th. Golly. Remember how they said there were 16 people shot? Oh, 10. Wow. Suspect. Wow. Wow. The dates don't match up at all. Maybe y'all were getting a bad read on that. Maybe I pulled the wrong deal. Nope. Dates don't match up. Dates don't match up. Dates don't match up. Dates. It's all a full week ago. And that might be the incident you were talking about. We try to keep stuff like that hush-hush around Houston. Is there anything else you guys want to see? You want to take a look at the Fukushima area again? We can definitely do that, my friend. The best way to do that is, y'all know the Fukushima plant shut down, the city's shut down. So is the province, all the way to the other side of the entire Alright. I know a lot about this area. There's about 14 nuclear facilities being built. And this is Fukushima Reef right there. The Fukushima Reef is a little bit out of the way here. But the whole island has nothing but nuclear reactors around it in a circle. It's a volcanic ridge with a volcanic ridge connecting to it, with a second, third, fourth volcanic ridge connecting to it. Also, there's no plate boundary here. Remember, North American plate, Pacific plate, Euro-Asia plate, Indonesian plate. There's also no connection, believe it or not, right there in between Yokohama. See it in black? So they've got a real problem on their hands over here, and they think they can build nuclear plants to get themselves out of it. I laugh. Everything y'all see here, including the island itself, is a volcanic range. You can see the volcanoes sitting on it. I mean, the last one finished was right there, and then we had a swarm of earthquakes all around it. I'm like, are these people just dumb? This is a volcanic ridge. This is one going right into that area. Another one. And then all these little bumps out here are individual volcanoes by the thousands. We call them seamounts when they haven't broken the surface yet of the ocean. So they haven't been able to grab the rods in Fukushima now since 2011. That's 14 years. And each year they have to, or each day, they have to pour over 1 million gallons of seawater in there because they can't get the rods to keep them cool. No one knows what will happen when the rods finally hit the center of the earth. Does everything just go kabam or what? They tried robots. They killed thousands of people trying to get the rods. And the whole plant was built by TEPCO for $3 billion. They have around 22, listen now, $2.9 trillion, almost, well, just below our defense budget, in trying to fix this. You know how far they've gotten? 0 of the way done. They just keep building tanks for the nuclear, industrial nuclear wastewater. And now they've given themselves permission through their own nuclear society commission that they've opened up to pour that back into the water. James Kaufman, World News Report today. Who am I speaking with?
Lois, and it's okay to take me on.
How you doing, Miss Lois?
All right. I just wanted to mention that I heard Trump talking about hiring a whole bunch of, we need air traffic controllers really bad. And I know back when in my day, I went and I took the civil service test and I missed it by 2 and I didn't study nothing or anything. It was all the area, stuff for the, some big airports is where I missed my point. But they will pay you to go to, they'll fly you to Lawton, Oklahoma. They will put you up in housing and food and you'll be there, I think, for 6 months. And then you'll be a certified air traffic controller. But the thing is, you gotta be young. By the time you're 35, you are too old to be hired. You're retiring at 35.
Right. It's high stress. Now, when they come out of there at 35, they look like they're about 65. And let me say that
some do, some don't. Depends on what airport they get located. You don't get to choose where in the United States you get to work at. They locate you.
This is all a result of DEI hiring and also hiring on affirmative action basis by Biden and Obama. We've got a bunch of people that can't do the job, won't show up for the job.
Right.
And we've got ourselves in big trouble now. That's why they're giving away these packages to youngsters that want to learn. And I'm not saying it's an easy job, but you know what? You don't get schooling like that and that kind of opportunity, which is a upper 6-figure,
Right. And you get paid to go to school.
Right. I mean, we're talking about making a couple $100,000 or more a year, although I'm sure it's 15 years or 20 years of hell. I've done it. I got up every morning at 4 o'clock and didn't go to sleep till midnight, oil and gas. So you're going to do it no matter where you go. That way, they pay for everything, and that is true. They just announced that program. Hopefully, you guys saw this. We're now in a strategic pact with Saudi Arabia. It's so, look, everything. Now, Trump is the only one in the world. If anyone else touches this man, they get their hand chopped off. Do y'all know that?
Right.
Trump goes around, pats him on the back and shit.
You can see he's looking out the corner of his eye and shit, you know?
Look, Trump is shaking. He don't want to drink that shit. Trump shows why you should never trust anyone. He said, "You drink it." He said,
"That's the way it is, though." I mean, hell, that's the way my grandpa was. He would not drink, and if the bottle, you know, he would not drink.
Hey, he got his poured out of one thing, and Trump got his brought to him. Look at that.
Right.
Look, he got his poured out of one thing. I wouldn't. Look, he's shaking. I wouldn't have drunk that shit either, man. Especially if I'm not drinking out of the same bottle. Then I would want to do, I'll take your cup, you take mine.
My grandpa would drink if it was a brand new bottle and it was opened in front of him. You know, then, you know, he'd sit right there with
now
it.
Look, they don't bring Trump from that wine that he's drinking. They bring him something else, and there's no telling. Look at Trump. If he takes, he ain't taking shit. And he's
young. Now, after all the tries of trying to kill him and shit, I mean, you know, I don't blame him, man. I wouldn't, you know, drink anything or eat anything, or, you know, I mean, he's gone through quite a bit of assassination attempts. But my grandpa would not eat at anybody's house either. The only places he ate was at home or my mother's place.
Hey, y'all want to hear something funny? This lady thinks she's going to bring Oakland back together. She owned a business that went bankrupt in less than 1 year. That's not owning a business. That's just having someone give you money and spending it, right?
Right.
Right?
She pissed it away, yeah.
She believes that and she's already made an executive order, raised Oakland. If y'all have ever been to Oakland, I actually turned off a little bit early, and this was back in the 90s when it was still, if they would have seen me today in my car as a white man, I wouldn't have gotten out of Oakland, just so you guys know, okay?
Well, it's not a chance.
But I did go through.
The truck driver was pulled out of his truck and stopped there almost dead, you know?
Yeah, well, that was actually Compton, but I whipped through Oakland. I was so scared because my managers told me, all right, go around. If you're going to San Francisco for the weekend to party, go around Oakland, even if it takes you another hour. And me, I end up right in the middle of it. Everyone's looking at me. I can tell they're all strapped. This is the new mayor. She's promised them $50 an hour minimum wage at the McDonald's. Of course, everyone's closing their doors as she speaks. She has been elected mayor now, and she's put into effect the $50 an hour. Now think about that. Let's say you don't have a job, then Egg McMuffins are like $60, right? If you happen to do have a job, you might be able to afford an Egg McMuffin, but they're going to be they're going to be a lot of money because somehow the owner's got to come up with $50 an hour times 20, which is obviously extra 12, 15, 24,000, 24, open 24/7, $24,000 a day. Payroll. Oh gosh, I've got only 20 people, but my payroll is $24,000 a day. That sounds reasonable. If they were, if they were prosecuting attorneys for the DOJ, it might be reasonable. But let's listen. Probably then it wouldn't be enough. But let's listen to her. She says, "I used to own a business for almost a whole year." I'm thinking, bitch, I created 5,000 full-time jobs that lasted 25 years. Big difference.
Yeah.
You're calling for a $50 an hour federal minimum wage. That's 7 times the current national minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. Can you explain how that would be economically sustainable for small businesses? You have 60 seconds.
First, let me say I owned and ran a small business for 11 years.
Yeah.
I created hundreds of jobs, benefits, retirement benefits, also healthcare benefits. I know what worker productivity means, and that means that you have to make sure that your employees are taken care of. And
What job did you create hundreds of jobs for 11 years? Will you tell us? Guys, she's already been elected, so it's too late, but...
have a living wage. In the Bay Area, I believe it was the United Way, came out with a report that very recently, $127,000 for a family of 4 is just barely enough to get by. Another survey very recently, $104,000 for a family of 1. Barely enough to get by. Low income because of the affordability crisis. And so just do the math. Just do the math. Of course we have national...
All you're going to do is raise the cost of goods, though, Dumby. That's not how you fix it. Now, she's already been elected, and hey, y'all would elect me too if I said, look, once I'm elected, I'm sending everyone a check for $2 million. But guess what? If everyone didn't go to work and they all sat around and ate off their $2 million, in 2 years, this country would be something of a dust land. A dust land.
There'd just be a bunch of fatsos with nothing. We wouldn't be producing nothing, manufacturing nothing. You know, I mean, that's what's wrong. We don't have nothing, no shit together to tool up. We don't have the steel on the lakes. The iron ore on the lakes isn't moving. You know, what the heck? You know what's going on. You buy everything elsewhere, you know, that it's just not any good. Like when I was 20, I went ahead and through Alice Chalmers Tractor Company in Topeka, Kansas, they put an ad in the paper. It's called the CETA program, CETA, and they paid half, and the government paid half because they needed people.
Look, they're finally showing y'all for the first time ever. I've known about it for years. The 100 miles of white crosses, each one with their own farmer buried, because they go from farm to farm and kill people. And you know what? What's so funny is the African Americans, there's 57 white people that have been brought in. 57 of them, they stand with all the 40 million illegal aliens, the black Democrats, but they don't stand with the 57 people. Watch the flyby. Both sides of the road, each, there's not one for two, there's a name on everything. I believe it's called the Road of Tears, but that might be something I'm mixing up. But this isn't even, this isn't even the spot where there's the most burials.
Last night was epic. He showed some pretty good stuff.
Well, let me say that they, remember how long it took to find this? Now it's everywhere, one day later. Because Trump is trying to show you each white cross is from someone that did nothing but farm their whole lives. They were sleeping in their beds, and gangs of African Americans killed them. And now the African Americans are Democrats. They want to expel the 59 people that we let in. 59 people. But hey, they fly down to El Salvador over one gangbanger that beat his wife to death.
Yeah. All the money they wasted with all that airfare and all the people, my gosh, they just went down there to party.
And they were drinking liquor when we saw them.
Yeah.
Look, this is U.S. military look. I knew that there was more to that Las Vegas deal. U.S. military intel battalion 45 saved the Saudi crown prince during the Las Vegas shooting, which was all a hit on him anyway. It was a cover to kill the Prince Mohammed bin Salman. They finally told y'all the truth. I've always known the truth. Always.
That big Las Vegas shootout?
That was I guess the biggest mass shooting in history. I knew that was the deal. And the Blackhawks with no lights, I knew that those were the good guys coming in. But I hope. Not quite sure. It looked like a CIA. There's so many assets to kill this man. Remember, he was in a different hotel. They ran him out the back. Although he owns the top, I think, 20 stories of that hotel down at the end that they were in by the airport, the black one across the street. I've stayed there 20 times. What's it called? Y'all help me out if y'all go to Vegas. I gave all that up years ago. So they've admitted all that. Look. So Pakistan and India are back on, guys. Whipping ass and taking names. But I wanted to show y'all, God, Bundy. Another can we have a press conference, please? It was my honor to join DEA headquarters today in the Fallen Heroes press conference. Because if I ever got anything done, it would kill me. Well, the dude's on his motorcycle backward. Oh, wow, that's a rider. I wanted to show y'all today what was signed.
Uh-oh, I can't hear it.
They don't want me to show y'all.
I don't know. If I turn it on, it'll be on my TV and it'll be too loud in the background.
That's all right. You can't show anything that African Americans are involved in. They just look. This is them. That's how they roll. That's how they roll. Can't show y'all. All right, this is it. All right. This is the Great Saudi U.S. Investment Forum, and we just sold Israel out. Never thought I'd see it happen. Never thought I'd see it happen, but Trump sold Israel out. And what does Israel have to offer? Just, negative things. Things that, nothing positive. I can't think of any, there's no natural resources there.
It's getting worse and worse, you know. They're just roping us in and using us for Big Brother, you know. And
they all they do is start another war with everyone on every side of them. Well, let's listen. This was, I hope to have the signing. I'll type that in after we hear this 22-second. But this is our new accord.
Things are happening at a very fast pace. They're happening right here. They're happening at a very fast pace. So they have to make their move right now, one way or the other, make your move. As I said in my inaugural address, my greatest hope is to
He means the EU.
be a peacemaker and to be a unifier. I don't like war. Things are happening at a very fast pace.
We love you.
They're happening right here. They're
We'll talk
happening at a very
soon.
fast pace. So they have to make their move right now, one way or the other, make your move. As I said in my inaugural address, my greatest hope is to be a peacemaker and to be a unifier. I don't like war.
EU, make your move. He just challenged you. I'll show you him and signing the agreement today. If I can find it, look, can't show you half of anything. Abby, let's see if Abby's still got the Trump derangement syndrome. She's not going to have a job soon after Scott goes.
The United States Constitution would like to have a word. That's why people care, right? Because the reason that that's in the Constitution is to prevent the President of the United States from accepting things that are being
perceived as a bribe.
What is the national
The goal of a
interest this
trip is not to get a giant gift that he can say belongs to him as president, but then he takes with him when he leaves the office.
Abby,
He's already said he's leaving it at the library or giving it to the next president. He doesn't want it. It wasn't a personal gift. Abby, do you not watch the news? You are the news.
to distance yourself from Trump derangement syndrome. It's irrelevant to policy. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
What matters is, why are all these AI
Have
documents...
you heard of the emoluments clause?
Wait. Why do you have all the leads...
No, seriously, it's a serious question. Have you heard of the emoluments clause? Do you understand that that is in the Constitution?
He doesn't know.
And do you understand that even if you think that maybe it might be okay, it's still legally incredible. The United States Constitution would...
When he took it, said that it wasn't his in any way. It was going to be given to his library for people to walk through. And there were 2 jets, by the way. Very gracious. You know why? Because they knew that he was about to sign an agreement with Saudi Arabia, China, and Russia, and we're going to become the other axis of the world. The other axis, not the EU, the Cokes. Can we call them the Cokes now? All right, what I will do is I'll show y'all signing because it's a freak job. Y'all saw Trump not drink his juice. Right, here it is right now. Economic partnership with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia will be given $600 billion in U.S. This is huge. Look where it goes. It goes over to the Saudi prince who's sitting right over to the right, by the way. He's in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I'm glad he didn't drink that juice. It's been like Jim Jones all over. He does love his signature. I was hoping y'all could see the Saudi guy. See if they pan out. Should be sitting right there, signing the same documents. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And guess what? Imagine when we gave $14 billion to Israel a few weeks ago, everyone bitched. We just gave $600 billion to Saudi Arabia. I don't know why. I think it's them that should be giving us money. But whatever, man. I would have just demanded my wine come out of the same coffer. So that's it. Look at him. That's it, baby. That is it. That's all she wrote there, baby. I don't know what tomorrow brings. This is all new to me. I had no idea that we were going with the BRICS currency. Is that what we're doing? Within these agreements, they actually say that they're going to hang on to the U.S. petrodollar. That's part of the reason Trump's signing these agreements. And remember what I told y'all. XRP, baby. It's your only way to get rich in the next 5 years. If you got $5,000, you'll be a multi-millionaire. So, it's all up to you guys. I don't know. With that said, guys, it looks like we are now in a huge partnership with Saudi Arabia. Trump scrubbed the Netanyahu visit. It was one of the 5 that he was going over there to do. That's the beast. with the horses all around it. Gave him, of course, nothing but first-class service. And he's the only one allowed to touch that prince. If you or me touched him, well, we'd be missing a finger or five. So that's what time it is. That's what time it is. Look, everything. Imagine the whole time he had been planning on signing an agreement with Saudi Arabia, not Israel. This is crazy. It's crazy. Craziest thing I've been involved in. Put it like that. So, God bless you guys. Please share and subscribe. Does anyone want to read for us tonight? If you'll find it in your heart that you want to read for us tonight, I'll hang out for a few more minutes and see if anyone gives me a thumbs up. We'll get your number in here one way or another. You gotta live here in the U.S., unfortunately, because my last call to Canada it cost $640. And that was just Canada. I should have been able to just use those cans in a string. We're giving them some of these. We're going to give them some of those. Some of this. Some of that. You want to see something funny? Look, his is served out of that pot, and they brought him something different in a cup. He drank his. That's after they finalize it. Watch Trump. He's like, look, she got a fucking pistol on. Everybody's like, what are you gonna do with it? Well, I'm surely not gonna drink it. Yours came out of a different container. They wanted to put some pressure on it and make him drink it. Maybe the last fucking thing I did. But got him on another conversation. Smart. And then put it behind him. Trump doesn't drink anyway, so it's not. Look, pours his wine. And then these are females with guns. Look at Trump. He's like, there's no fucking way I'm doing Jim Jones after all these years. He's got his platinum. And then here's yours. Try not to die. Try not to die. Look. Is that Ovaltine, Trump? Is that Ovaltine? You know, I know Trump doesn't drink. That's what makes this almost okay. They could have brought him a grape juice. But as the leader of the free world, being in Saudi Arabia, it's a real bad move to, well, let your guard down for any reason. This was a fake sip. Look at his glass. He really never had a sip out of this. I remember the old deal. Look. That look like he's having a sip? Stupid fucks. I'll teach you how to sip that motherfucker. Look at let's see if look. Oh God, he drank it. The State Department. Rubio's going to a bubble bath later. He needs to catch a buzz. I can't believe that. So, does anyone feel like they want to read for the channel? Amy said that she's in her busiest season. She did leave me a line. I wish she would have come in and said it herself, but some people aren't like everyone else. Some people, well, obviously, some people are different. Rubio, I didn't know Rubio chugged it like a champ. I mean, if it was like ecstasy or something, I know Rubio enjoyed it. Even if it was deadly, he probably walked off. He's so drugged up. Hey, good shit. It was pure fentanyl. And he's like, hey, man, could you put a little bit extra in mine? Put a little bit extra in mine. That's what they were drinking right there, guys. It's just what, $3,000, probably $10,000 bottle of wine. All right, lots of love. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and we'll see y'all soon. God bless you guys. From the Oval Office to you guys, God bless. Please share and subscribe. Always remember, anything's possible in Bizarro World.